Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Troops of the Nigerian army repel attack by Boko Haram terrorists at Gudambali, Borno State. All Progressives Congress APC denies allegation it was involved in vote buying during the Ekiti state governorship election last June. The need for love and respect among couples formed the crux of discussions at the 2019 marriage conference organized by the Rose of Sharon Glorious Ministry. 19 persons are killed after a small passenger plane crashed into a lake in central South Sudan. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you, and on youtube.com/channelsweb you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news and updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 apps have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu, and please follow the instructions. Let's get some of the pictures that you sent in, beginning with these sets of images from Oyigbo in Lagos State, showing this building, which our eyewitness describes as the Oyigbo bus terminal, being built by the state government. He says the structure is part of the bus reform initiative of the state government and will redefine public transportation in the state. Next is this picture from Boko in Benue State, showing the state of Ahmadu Bello Way, which is ravaged by gully erosion. Eyewitness reports that the road became this bad after a heavy rainfall. He wants the road fixed before it gets worse. Still in Benue, comes this set of images from Katsina Ala, showing the state of the bridge there, which our eyewitness reporter says is in disrepair. He's raising concern over what could happen if this is left to fester. Is calling for prompt action to it. Our final image is from Kogi State, showing persons whom our eyewitness says now live in an internally displaced people's camp. According to him, they are from Kotokarfe, Ajaokuta and Ibaji around Lokoja, the state capital. It reports that they had to leave their homes due to the flood which resulted from a heavy downpour. He's calling for a permanent solution to the drainage issues around the state capital. Well, we want to thank you for sending in those images. Please note that you too can report events as they happen around you. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has a major test in the Osun State governorship election in its preparation for 2019. The Commission says it is making efforts to make sure that the vote of people count and that electoral offenders do not continue to get away with infringements on the Nigerian democratic process. Our next report highlights the hurdles INEC must overcome in the coming election.
As the players in Osun State brace up for the big day, the electoral umpire is not mincing words about how it intends to fight the menace of vote buying.
We are looking forward to the Osun State governorship election to make a very definitive statement on vote buying. We are right now working with the security agencies. We shall arrest, we shall prosecute, and make public show of how not to behave in a democracy.
The INEC chairman is confident about the commission's readiness. It's a major test for the umpire, being the last off-season election before 2019. As the commission gets set to tackle the menace of vote buying posing a major threat to the credibility of the Nigerian electoral system, logistics management, security, card reader malfunctioning, and other probably old challenges are there, and they must keep an eye on them. The politicians on their own are touching base with the people, going from one location to another, hoping to get the biggest share of the 1.6 million registered voters in the state. 48 political parties are also jostling for the office that only sits one. Credibility of the poll and the assurance that the vote of the people of Osun State will count is of utmost importance, and that the next few days will reveal.
Well, for more on that, joining us on the News at 10 is Channel Television's data analyst, Babajide Ogusonwo. Pleasure to have you on the News at 10.
Good evening, Melissa.
And I can't say that I'm not disappointed that there are no goodies for me today.
Oh, yes, we've got some medals. And that's also really because if you, Millicent, are among the 84 million Nigerians that INEC says have registered, you deserve a bronze medal, not gold, bronze. If, however, you are among the few Nigerians that have collected their permanent voters' cards, INEC says there are 58 million Nigerians, you deserve a silver medal. And if next year you vote, then you get this gold. So if you vote next year, Millicent, you get the gold medal.
Okay, let's bring it down to the election that's coming up, that's in Osun State. INEC has concluded the continuous voter registration exercise, but what do the numbers reveal, and what should we expect? A higher voter turnout in Osun State?
Again, I'd like to take it from a slightly different perspective. It's now 2 years past 4 decades that Nigerians have been reciting the national pledge. So let's listen to the first set of promises in the pledge. I pledge to Nigeria to be faithful, loyal, and honest. And so let's ask ourselves, how do you measure the faithfulness of Nigerians? Now, INEC has helped us. Now, one way to measure faithfulness is to look at the eagerness, how much Nigerians run to register to vote. And based on INEC's own evidence, if we had an Olympics for voting, how quickly people register to vote, these are the top 3 states that will get our medals based on INEC's most recent report. They say Cross River State will get the bronze. Between 2015 and date, voter registration in Cross River State has increased by 44%, which will get the silver medal that will go to Abuja. Again, between 2015 and date, voter registration in Abuja has increased by 50%. Who will get our gold for voter registration is Bayelsa State. Between 2015 and 2018, no other state has witnessed the sort of voter registration growth that Bayelsa has witnessed, 65%. In simple terms, in 2015, we only had 610,000 people on the database in Bayelsa. Now we have over 1 million. And so, yes, if we were to use that as an indicator to measure the faithfulness of Nigerians, it will go to Cross River bronze, Abuja silver, and Bayelsa.
So Osun State
gold.
Isn't getting any medal?
No, Osun State isn't getting any medal. But here's what we can give Osun State. Let's look at the 3 facts about Osun State. Osun State is the most consistent when it comes to voter results. Here's what I mean. Whoever wins the governorship election in Osun State, often, most times you see, will be the same party that wins the presidential. So in 1999, they had an AD governor. It was Chief Olufalaye that won the presidential election in 1999. And the same thing goes on 2003, 2007. Even in 2011, when we had the current governor, ACN, he was governor in 2011. Who won the presidential election in Osun State in 2011? It was Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, the candidate of the ACN. Indeed, that was the only state Ribadu won in 2011. So we can clearly see, using the trend and the consistency of Osun State, that this election is going to be about how consistent and how committed will voters in Osun State be to the party.
Let's look at voter buying. INEC has promised to eliminate that. Do you think this is something that's feasible?
Now that's a big challenge, Millicent. But here's why I'm confident that voter buying will be tough in Osun State. And that's because based on the most recent data from the National Bureau of Statistics, they reveal that unemployment rate in Osun State is the lowest in Nigeria. The NBS also tells us that poverty rate in Nigeria is the lowest in Osun State. So if we take a mixture of low poverty, low unemployment rate based on the data of the NBS, then it's going to be really difficult to buy votes in Osun State. But moreover, let's listen to what the great Greek orator said, Sophocles, that it's better to fight and lose than to win by cheating. And so, yes, I do think it's going to be really difficult, also because of the promises and the vigor INEC has shown to ensure that voters protect their votes, and it's hard for parties to induce voters with money.
In your opinion, important factors for voters to decide come the Osun election?
High cost of living, number one. I also think even though relative unemployment in Osun is low, we still have over 400,000 people living in Osun State that are still unemployed and underemployed. So that will be a big issue. But one of the biggest issues as well will be the rising debt in Osun State. Osun State is among the top 5 states in Nigeria that has the highest domestic debt. So I think those will be critical things to look at. But here's what we will also notice. We've seen the trend between the APC and PDP. We've seen those margins reducing. Here's what I mean. Let's look at the last 3 governorship elections, Ondo, Anambra, and Ekiti State. In Ondo State, the APC had a margin of over 94,000 votes over the PDP. Now, if you look at the next election, which was in Anambra State, the margin of victory between the APC and the PDP had reduced to 28,000. And then you look at Ekiti State election, the margin between the APC and the PDP down to 19,000. So, yes, those that are pro the opposition will be looking at those margins to see that they're seeing a reducing margin of victory. But those that as well that are pro-government will also be looking at the records of the government when it comes to poverty and unemployment. So I think the Osun State election will be one of the most interesting ones, especially because it's the 7th governorship election we're seeing since 2015, and it's the last before next year's election.
All right, we'd like to thank you so much, Baraji Ogunsowo, for coming on the news.
Again, which of these medals do you currently qualify
gold.
for?
I'm definitely going for gold.
Do you have your PVC?
I do.
Okay, so gold for you next year then.
Many thanks. Let's move on. The Kogi state government is appealing to well-meaning Nigerians to join the global campaign towards ensuring that children are protected from all forms of violence. The wife of the Kogi state governor, Rashidat Bello, supported the call in Lokoja, the state capital, at the launch of the Kogi state priority response plan to end violence against children.
Defining child violence has proved somewhat difficult in Nigeria due to the country's diverse cultural backgrounds. Some choose to see the act of abuse as instilling discipline in children. But as the cases of child violence continue to grow, the Kogi state government is partnering with the USAID to launch a project that will end violence against children.
This is for us a very good beginning in our effort to address violence against children. Our commitment to ensuring its implementation is solid, and we intend to keep it so for the best interest of the child. I want to use this opportunity to invite every one of us to join this global campaign to ensure that the children living in Kogi State are safe and are protected from all forms of violence.
In her speech, the Deputy Speaker of the Kogi State Children's Parliament called on parents and the government to give children their right to education, security and safety.
Today, history has been made once again in the complex state to stop violence against children in the state. In our views as children parliamentarians, we have given to this event the second thing, and enough is enough. Together, we can end violence against children.
Steps being taken by the government to fight child abuse are also highlighted.
Over 17,676 orphans and vulnerable children have had the support of this program. 12,146 caregivers. On education, scattered at 25 schools were supported, both with chairs, desks from the block grant.
Sensitization on the dangers of child abuse could be one of the ways of curbing it in the society.
When the News at 10 returns, residents of Kogi in Nasarawa State cry for help over the erosion, which they claim has resulted in many deaths. Please join us again.